तो कैसे हैं आप लोग?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Vidya Burman, finally a chartered accountant. It feels so good to introduce myself like that. We will be revising company audit in two parts. This is the part 1. Let's get started.
तो आओ यार, अपने कान में ईयरफोन्स डाल लो। क्या डाल भी?
So let us start with section 141, which covers the qualification and disqualifications of auditor. Section 141 subsection 1 and subsection 2 covers who all are qualified to become the auditor of a company. A CA shall be eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company. Also, a firm, including LLP, can be appointed as an auditor of a company, and only the partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on the behalf of the firm. Now, let us move on to the lengthiest part, that is section 141, subsection 3, which covers the disqualifications. That is, who all are not qualified to be appointed as an auditor of a company. The main thing here is that wherever the auditor's independence is threatened, then the person shall not be eligible to be appointed as an auditor and he shall be disqualified. There are 9 disqualifications given. Let us cover it quickly. The first one is body corporate other than limited liability partnership. Then the officer and the employee of the company are also disqualified to be the auditor of company. The term officer has been defined in Companies Act, which includes the director, manager, KMP and the shadow director. And the third one is the person who are the partner or who is in employment of the officer or employee of the company. Let us say Reliance is going to appoint the company auditor. In that case, the officer and employee cannot be appointed as the company auditor, including the partner and employee of the officer and employee of the company shall not be eligible to be appointed as the auditor. Now the fourth point, it is little complex one because there are limits given here and many questions has been asked from this point. If a person or his relative or his partner has taken shares of the company or is indebted to the company or has given guarantee or provided security in connection to the indebtedness, then in that case the person and his relative and also his partner shall be disqualified to be the auditor of the company. We will have to dive deep into this clause to understand this clause in a better way. Everywhere in this clause, we will find the relevant company, the holding company, subsidiary company, associate company, and subsidiary of such holding company are covered. For our convenience, let us give it a name, group companies. So if a person or his relative or his partner holds security or interest in the group companies, then he is disqualified. But there is a proviso given here which says that if the relative is holding security in the company, I mean the group companies, then they can hold up to face value of rupees 1 lakh and it should not increase the amount of 1 lakh. But if the amount of rupees 1 lakh has been exceeded, then in that case, grace period of 60 days is given and this shall apply only for the relatives. So if the person or the partner is holding shares of even rupees 1, then in that case, he will be straight disqualified. But if the relative is holding shares of face value rupees 1 lakh 1000, then in that case, grace period of 60 days will be available to him. The next one is about indebtedness, according to which if a person or his relative or his partner is indebted to the group company in excess of rupees 5 lakh, then in that case, he will be disqualified. And the third one, if a person or his relative or his partner has given a guarantee in excess of rupees 1 lakh, then in that case, he will be disqualified. Now the fifth one, if a person or the firm, whether directly or indirectly, has a business relationship with a group company, then in that case, they are disqualified. The term business relationship has been defined in this section also. The sixth one says that if a person's relative is a director or is the employee of the company as a director or KMP, then he shall be disqualified. Point to be noted here is that only company is covered here and not all other companies like subsidiary, holding, and associate. The next one covers the person who are in full-time employment elsewhere or at the date of such appointment is holding appointment as an auditor of more than 20 companies, then they are disqualified. Within the limit of 20 companies, one person companies, dormant companies, small company, and private company having a paid up share capital of less than 100 crore, these all companies are excluded from the limit of 20 companies. So if a person is an auditor of such type of companies, then these shall not be included within the limit of 20. But for claiming such exemption, such companies should have filed their financial statement and annual returns to the registrar. The next clause disqualifies the person who has been convicted by court of an offense involving fraud and a period of 10 years has not elapsed. So if a auditor has done a fraud and is convicted by a court, he will have to wait for 10 years for doing the next audit and then only he can do the next audit. And the last one talks about section 144. That is if a person who directly or indirectly renders any services referred to in section 144 to the company, its holding or its subsidiary, Here, associate company and subsidiary of such holding company is not covered. Only company, holding and subsidiary company are covered. Let us look into what all services are covered under section 144. Accounting and bookkeeping, internal audit, actuarial services, investment advisory services, investment banking services, and all these. For MCQ purpose, it becomes important to know all such services. And lastly, section 141 subsection 4 says that if a person has been appointed as an auditor of company and after that it happens that he has incurred any of the disqualification which we have discussed now, then he will have to vacate his office, and such vacation shall be deemed to be casual vacancy in the office of auditor. Now let us move on to the appointment of auditors. Till now हम लोगों को ये पता चल गया है कि who all are qualified to become a company auditor and what are the disqualifications for a company auditor. Let us first look into the appointment of first auditor. The process is different for a government company and companies other than government company. For a government company, first C and AG will appoint company auditor within 60 days of date of registration of company. If they fail to do so, then board of director will appoint within next 30 days. And in case they also fail to appoint a company auditor, then members within 60 days will hold an extraordinary general meeting and they will appoint within 60 days. Here limits are very important. These can be tested in MCQ, and so before exam it is important to go through these limits. For the case of companies other than government companies, board of director will appoint the company auditor within 30 days of date of registration of company, and if they fail to do so, members will appoint within 90 days at an extraordinary general meeting. So here the limit is 30 and 90. Now we move on to the appointment of subsequent auditor. For the case of government company, it will be appointed by C and AG within 180 days from the commencement of financial year, and they shall hold office till the conclusion of AGM. And for the case of companies other than government company, the company's auditor are appointed by the members at an AGM, and they shall hold office till the conclusion of 6th AGM. Before appointment of company auditor, the written consent of the auditor is required. The company is also required to file ADT1 with ROC within 15 days of the meeting at which the auditor is appointed. So अब जब company auditor appoint हो गया है and they will hold office till 6th AGM, and after every 6th AGM they will be reappointed. Life would be simple if it was like that. But Companies Act ने आके कहा रुको थोड़ा सबर करो. I have got another new concept of rotation of auditor. जहाँ पर Companies Act ने specify कर दिया कि इन companies के लिए rotation of auditor is compulsory. Whenever we see an applicability of a particular section to a class of company, at the top of the list we will every time find the listed companies. So वो तो fixed है. बाकी 3 companies हैं. They are unlisted public companies having paid up share capital of 10 crore or more, private limited companies having paid up share capital of 50 crore or more, and all the other companies having public borrowings from financial institution, banks or public deposit of 50 crore or more. So the limit is like that 10, 50 and 50. The limit is little different from other sections, so it is important to learn this section. I mean the limits. So अगर एक individual auditor है, he shall not be appointed or reappointed for more than one term of 5 consecutive years. And अगर audit firm है, then he shall not be appointed or reappointed for 2 terms of 5 consecutive years. And there will be a cooling period of 5 years. In layman's term, consecutive years यानी कि there should be no break in between. But as per this section, consecutive years means all the preceding financial year until there has been a break of 5 years or more. So अगर 1 साल के लिए कंपनी ऑडिटर को अपॉइंट किया गया and then after 2 years same auditor को अपॉइंट किया गया, these 2 years will be considered as consecutive years. These little points are very important because ICI may frame a case study based MCQ. Now we move on to the section 177, provisions related to audit committee. There are certain companies which are required to constitute an audit committee under section 177, and all the appointments including filling of casual vacancy are made after considering the recommendations of such committee. So audit committee का काम क्या होता है? They will recommend auditor's name or audit firm's name to the board of directors. The board of directors may either agree to the decision of audit committee or they may disagree to the decision. If the board of directors agrees to the decision, then they will recommend to the members in AGM for appointment of the company auditor. And in case they do not agree to the decision, then they will refer back the recommendation to audit committee for reconsideration, citing the reasons. Now, if the audit committee, after considering the reasons given by board of directors, decides not to reconsider its original recommendation, then the board shall record the reason for its disagreement and will send its own recommendation to the members at AGM. And the auditor will be appointed accordingly in AGM, who shall hold office till 6th AGM. Now let us understand the appointment of auditor in case of casual vacancy. For other than government company, simply board of director will appoint an auditor within 30 days of casual vacancy. But if it happens that the casual vacancy is due to the result of resignation of auditor, then whole power is not given to board of directors. Such an appointment has to be approved by the company at general meeting convened within 3 months of recommendation. If the auditor has resigned, then there are chances that board has placed some limitation on the auditor and the auditor was unable to conduct his audit procedures. So such an appointment is required to be approved by the members. For the case of government company, C and AG will appoint within 30 days of casual vacancy, and if they fail to do so, then board of directors will fill the vacancy within next 30 days.